All right, that was cute. That was cute. Anyways, first question. Tell us, how is life like when you are alive? Punk bitch.
I can say basically it's more clarity, it's more structure. I can see the design, I can feel real feelings, I can understand real feelings, I can see things for what they really are. TV, movies, it's all a mirror. When you wake up, you can see the actual design, you can see behind the editors, the creator's point of view. You know, you're not looking at it as an audience anymore. You're looking at it as somebody who's back there with the cameras, with the, putting things together and getting ready for the act, preparing the show. You are a part of what makes the show. You are not the show. So that's what it feels like to be alive. You're not the show. You're not the things that the perspectives of the people who can see beyond put in place, and you're operating off of that system that was placed, that is being made up, that is being placed in front of you. You're not operating as a person who's actually putting these pieces or seeing the pieces be put into place. So the world right now is just basically people who are just acting in motion in these positions that they have drawn themselves to, because everything is self-will. The objects, and just because everything is stationary and put in place, and just because when you press play and things happen and emotions are created with sound effects and people are good actors and stuff, that does not make it reality at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So that's what being alive is. You get a clear insight of what actually is happening, what you're actually engaging with, what you're actually watching. And the key part about this is these people really are just telling you plain and simple, you need to wake up. That's it. That's all these messages represent. At the end of the day, you need to wake up. We are giving you examples bluntly in front of you, telling you you're asleep, telling you what's going on without telling you what's going on. Same thing with music. When you hear music after you wake up versus before waking up, it's a big difference. First you just hear a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And you hear a bunch of things that are in tune with your frequency of what was created for you to consume, that made you who you are. At the end of the day, when you wake up, you can see outside of that design. You can feel outside of those emotions, because you're one with yourself. You're one with the creator at that point. You're original. You're authentic, and that's what it feels to be alive. Of course, we have to go through Earth School. Of course, we have to go through these trials and tribulations, because we have to relearn the life that, that was put before us, So as we, of course, have to walk into identity, of course, we have to find ourselves in in a aware sense, not so much searching just to wake up. But there is more work to do after you wake up, because now you have to become the person that God has intended for you to become, So life is a beautiful thing. That's all I can say. And once we start taking it serious, and once we start tapping in, great things happen. So does that answer your question, Deadman?
Absolutely. Alive, man.